Welcome, spicy lady. Ever wonder what men really fantasize about? Forget the usual archetypes. There's a powerful, unconventional female type that's secretly captivating their minds, the spicy lady. But what exactly is it about her independence and strength that holds such a deep, unspoken allure for so many men? Prepare to uncover a hidden layer of male desire. Imagine a woman who thrives on her own terms. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She's calm, self-contained, and magnetic without even trying. That's the spicy lady, and she's inspiring a quiet obsession in men who'll never admit it out loud. Today, we're going beyond the surface to reveal what really pulls them in. The world loves to label women. The nurturing one, the fiery one, the mysterious one. But the spicy lady doesn't fit any of that. She walks her own path. She's not loud about her power, but you can feel it when she enters the room. Today, we are talking about something rarely spoken. The hidden fantasies men have about spicy ladies. The kind they don't tell anyone, but that quietly live in their heads. Okay, let's go point one. The enigmatic MUS of the spicy lady is mysterious, almost untouchable, and that's exactly what draws men toward her like moths to a quiet, controlled flame. She doesn't crave the spotlight, yet somehow she becomes the center of it without even trying. Her energy is calm, but commanding, silent, but magnetic. Men find themselves wondering who she really is, what she's thinking, and why she never seems to need anyone's attention to feel complete. That's what drives them insane. The fact that she's not trying to impress, yet everything about her feels effortlessly impressive. She moves through the world with quiet authority. A woman who knows who she is and doesn't need to prove it. There's no performance, no desperation for validation, no chasing approval. And that absence of need creates a kind of power that's hard to define but impossible to ignore. Men fantasize about being the one who finally breaks through that surface, the one who understands the spicy lady's inner world, her rhythm, her silence, her strength. But the truth is that mystery is her armor. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about genuinely not needing to be understood, to feel whole. The spicy lady doesn't hide behind mystery to manipulate. She lives in mystery because peace means more to her than popularity. When men watch her, they see something they can't categorize. She doesn't fit the soft stereotype or the loud rebel archetype. They can't label her, and that frustrates and fascinates them at the same time. They crave simplicity, but she gives them depth. She challenges the shallow expectations they've been taught about women. She doesn't chase validation, she chases meaning. She doesn't need to be adored to feel valuable. Her worth exists regardless of anyone's recognition. That's why she feels so rare, like finding a star that only shines for itself. In every room she walks into, the spicy lady stands out, not because she demands it, but because she radiates it. Men sense her independence, her self-control, and they imagine what it would feel like to be part of her world. They fantasize about hearing her laugh, understanding her thoughts, or being the one person she finally lets close. But deep down, they know she's not the kind of woman who belongs to anyone. She's the fantasy that stays in their mind long after she's gone. Her quiet confidence makes men question everything they thought they knew about attraction. It's not the loud, obvious kind of beauty that wins them. It's the depth, the self-respect, the boundaries, the silence that speaks louder than words. The spicy lady doesn't seduce with effort. She seduces by being complete within herself. She teaches men something they rarely admit. They don't actually want to own her, they want to understand her. But the spicy lady can't be understood. She can only be respected. And that's the twist that keeps her in their thoughts. The mystery that never fades. The muse they'll chase in their dreams, but never fully capture. 2. The savior's LOV. Some men dream about saving the spicy lady, thinking maybe she's too strong for her own good, too guarded, too detached from emotion. They imagine themselves as the one who will soften her edges, melt her walls, and remind her what it feels like to need someone. But here's the twist. They quickly realize the spicy lady doesn't need saving. She's not broken. She's not lost. And she's not waiting for anyone to fix her. She's already done that work on her own. Every scar she carries has turned into armor, and every heartbreak has been transformed into wisdom. She doesn't crave a hero because she already became her own. And yet that realization doesn't push men away. It pulls them in deeper. It's disorienting for them to meet a woman who doesn't lean on them for validation, money, or purpose. The spicy lady stands tall, complete, whole, with or without anyone by her side, and that's where the fantasy flips. Suddenly, it's the man who wants to be saved from mediocrity, from routine, from the emptiness of shallow connection. The spicy lady's strength, her calm independence, her emotional control, they all act like a mirror, showing men the parts of themselves they've ignored. She awakens something ancient in them, a need to rise, to become better, to match her energy. She doesn't rescue them by trying. She rescues them just by existing. When a man meets a spicy lady, he starts to crave the peace she carries. She's not chaotic, she's not needy, and she's not performing. Her presence feels like a reset. She doesn't scream her worth, she embodies it quietly. And men find themselves wanting to protect that peace, even though they know she doesn't require protection. She's not the damsel in distress. She's the calm in the storm. But men can't help but imagine what it would feel like to be the one she chooses to let close, the one she trusts enough to show her softer side. That fantasy isn't about dominance. It's about connection. Because when a spicy lady loves, she loves with depth, loyalty, and rare intensity. She gives her heart slowly, carefully, intentionally. And once she does, it's powerful. Men sense that even if they've never experienced it. They fantasize about being worthy of that kind of love, the kind that doesn't need to control, the kind that empowers. The spicy lady's love doesn't cage, it frees. It doesn't demand, it inspires. It's love without dependency, passion without possession. That's why men find themselves caught in the paradox. They want to protect her, but they're the ones being healed by her strength. She shows them what emotional maturity looks like without ever saying a word. And when she finally walks away, they realize she didn't need saving. They did. The spicy lady becomes the savior they never expected. Not because she tried to rescue them, but because her self-sufficiency showed them what wholeness really looks like. Point 3. The dangerous connection is the kind of pull that doesn't make sense. The kind that keeps a man awake at night, replaying every glance, every word, every silence. The spicy lady doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't cling. And that's exactly what makes her so dangerously attractive. She's not performing for approval. She's just existing in her truth. And somehow that truth feels electric. Men feel the tension, the delicious mix of curiosity and intimidation that follows her everywhere she goes. The spicy lady is unpredictable. Not because she's impulsive, but because she doesn't follow anyone's script. One moment she's quiet and reflective, the next she's bold and direct. She's not afraid of solitude, and that terrifies men who build their worth on being needed. They want to hold her, to claim her, but deep down they know they can't. She belongs to herself, and that's the danger. The connection feels like fire, beautiful to look at, deadly to touch. Men fantasize about being close to her, about being the one who breaks through her walls, about finding the warmth behind her calm exterior. But every time they think they've figured her out, she surprises them. She doesn't play the emotional games they're used to. She doesn't manipulate, doesn't demand attention, doesn't compete. She just is, and that's her greatest weapon. The spicy lady's presence feels like a test of strength, of patience, of emotional depth. She challenges men without even trying. When she talks, she listens more than she speaks. And that silence, it's magnetic. It pulls them in deeper. Men start imagining what it would be like to be trusted by her, to be the one she finally lets in. That's where the fantasy turns dangerous. Because once a man feels that connection, he can't go back to ordinary. He starts craving her energy, her peace, her calm defiance of everything superficial. But she doesn't open up easily. The spicy lady guards her heart like a fortress, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. She knows her energy is sacred, and she won't waste it on anyone who doesn't match her frequency. That's what drives men wild. They can't buy her love, can't impress her with noise, can't manipulate her with ego. They have to earn her. Every word, every glance, every small piece of her attention feels like gold. And once they get a taste, they're hooked. The danger isn't in losing her, it's in realizing she's unforgettable. Even after she's gone, her presence lingers like smoke after a fire. Men replay every moment, wondering what they could have done differently, wishing they'd understood her sooner. But that's the power of the spicy lady. She teaches without teaching, loves without binding, leaves without breaking. Her connection is both a blessing and a curse. It burns quietly, but deeply, and once a man has felt it, every other connection feels pale, predictable, and painfully ordinary. 4. The soulmate from another life. There's something timeless about the spicy lady, something that feels familiar, even when she's a complete mystery. Men often can't explain it, but when they meet a spicy lady, it feels less like a first encounter and more like a reunion from another existence, that it's the strange pull of deja vu. The way her eyes seem to hold entire stories. The way her voice feels both calming and commanding at once. They imagine that maybe in another lifetime they've crossed paths before. That spicy ladies were the ones they loved and lost in some forgotten world. This fantasy isn't just romantic, it's spiritual. Men don't just see the spicy lady as a person. They see her as an experience, a soul that feels too rare, too evolved for the world around her. There's something otherworldly about how spicy ladies carry themselves, detached from the noise, grounded in their truth. Untouched by superficiality, she doesn't rush connection. She allows it to unfold naturally. And that slow, deliberate energy makes men feel something real, something lasting. She doesn't play the modern dating games. She moves with patience and quiet conviction. When she speaks, it's intentional. When she listens, it's complete. That emotional intelligence creates a depth that men aren't used to. They start imagining what life would be like beside her, not in the material sense, but in the soul sense, like being anchored and set free at the same time. Spicy ladies have a way of seeing through people without judgment, like they've already lived 1,000 lives and know how it all ends. That's why men can't fake it around them. The spicy lady's energy exposes pretense. She sees beyond ego, beyond words, beyond performance. Men feel both terrified and drawn to that kind of insight. It's not the fantasy of being desired, it's the fantasy of being seen. The spicy lady doesn't flatter. She reflects. She doesn't romanticize weakness. She respects truth. And when a man feels that kind of connection, it shakes him. He starts believing there must be something cosmic at play. That spicy ladies are rare souls sent to remind people what genuine connection feels like. The bond feels faded, even if it's brief. Every conversation feels like a confession. Every silence feels like understanding. It's not lust, it's recognition. Men imagine walking beside her through centuries, sharing the same fire in different forms, different times. And even when the spicy lady walks away, the fantasy doesn't end. It lingers in the quiet moments like the echo of something ancient. She becomes the ghost of what if, the reminder of what connection could feel like if it was honest, raw, and real. The spicy lady represents the kind of soulmate who doesn't belong to one life. She's eternal, untamed, unforgettable. She's the love that feels written in the stars, the one that men spend lifetimes searching for, even when they don't know her name. 5. The spicy lady Diane, the spicy lady, carries a calm that feels almost supernatural. A stillness that men can't help but crave in a world addicted to noise. She doesn't rush. She doesn't react. She simply observes. While everyone else is driven by chaos, the spicy lady stands like stone in the middle of a storm. Men feel that steadiness like gravity. It pulls them in without warning. There's a sense of safety in her silence, a peace that doesn't ask for attention, but commands it. She doesn't lose her temper easily, and when she speaks, it's deliberate, grounded, and controlled. Her emotions run deep, but she never lets them control her. She's mastered the art of balance, and that quiet discipline fascinates men who are used to drama and emotional games. The spicy lady doesn't need to shout to be heard. Her presence speaks louder than words ever could. Men fantasize about having that kind of emotional anchor in their lives, someone who doesn't collapse under pressure, someone who doesn't make love feel like chaos. The spicy lady becomes the guardian energy they didn't know they needed. She doesn't promise peace, she is peace, but her calm isn't cold. It's warm, subtle, protective. When a man is around her, he feels like he can finally breathe. Her energy says, I've got me, and I don't need to control you. That level of emotional security is rare, almost mythical. Men start to feel safe enough to be real, to drop the mask they wear for the world. They imagine coming home after the noise of the day, sitting beside her, not needing to fill the silence because her presence already says everything. She doesn't fix problems with words. She dissolves them with energy. The spicy lady is strong, but not in a performative way. Her strength is quiet, the kind that doesn't need validation. She doesn't fight every battle because she knows not every battle deserves her effort. Men find that restraint incredibly alluring. Power under control, passion with purpose, and yet the fantasy goes deeper. Men imagine her protecting them, not physically, but emotionally, being their calm when the world is loud, their reason when they lose focus. She doesn't baby them, doesn't coddle them, but she reminds them that real power doesn't come from dominance. It comes from composure. The spicy lady doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't overreact, she responds. And that difference changes everything. Men fantasize about standing beside her, learning her ways, understanding how she can carry so much strength in such silence. But the truth is they can't replicate it. They can only admire it. The spicy lady remains untouchable in her discipline, unstoppable in her peace. She's the calm that chaos respects, the quiet that speaks volumes, the guardian of her own energy. And that's exactly what makes men wish they could live inside her stillness, even just for a moment. 6. The tragic GODBYE, some stories aren't meant to last forever. And the spicy lady knows that better than anyone. She doesn't hold on when things are done. And that's part of what makes her unforgettable. Men fantasize about being with her, but even more than that, they imagine what it would feel like to lose her. The spicy lady walks into a man's life like a quiet storm. Calm, controlled, but powerful enough to rearrange everything. She brings a sense of purpose, depth, and honesty that most people never experience. And when she's gone, she leaves a silence that feels almost unbearable. Men replay every word, every glance, every touch, wondering how someone could be so composed while leaving such a deep scar. But that's the thing. The spicy lady doesn't stay where she's not aligned. She doesn't fear endings because she understands that goodbyes are just another form of growth. She doesn't chase closure because she creates it within herself. Men often mistake her detachment for coldness, but it's not that, it's wisdom. The spicy lady knows when something has served its time, and she has the strength to walk away without bitterness. That's what drives men crazy. She doesn't cling. She doesn't beg. She doesn't make a scene. She just leaves quietly with grace, and it's that grace that haunts them. They imagine trying to stop her, trying to make her stay, but deep down they know they can't. You can't keep what doesn't belong to you. And the spicy lady never pretends to belong to anyone. Her love is real, but it's never dependent. When she gives it fully. When it's time to go, she doesn't hesitate. That kind of emotional discipline is rare, and men aren't prepared for it. They're used to drama, to fights, to emotional chaos. But the spicy lady doesn't give them that. She gives them silence. And that silence says more than any words ever could. Men find themselves fantasizing about chasing her down, about saying all the things they didn't say when they had the chance. But even in their imagination, she still walks away, not out of cruelty, but because she values peace more than pain. The spicy lady leaves with love, but without regret. And that's what keeps her alive in their memory. She becomes the what if, the one that got away, the standard they compare every woman to after her. No one feels the same. No one looks at them the same. The spicy lady leaves a kind of echo, not loud, not dramatic, but endless. Men fantasize about one more conversation, one more look, one more chance to say they understand. But she's already gone. And somehow that makes her even more perfect. The tragic goodbye isn't about heartbreak. It's about evolution. The spicy lady doesn't just leave. She teaches you how to let go. And that lesson, for most men, lasts a lifetime. Point 7. The rebellious PAR men dream about running beside the spicy lady, not in front of her and not behind her, but beside her. It's the fantasy of two independent souls moving through life with shared purpose, but separate power. The spicy lady isn't looking for permission. And that's exactly what makes this connection so intoxicating. She doesn't want to be saved, and she doesn't want to save anyone else. She wants partnership, not possession. And men deep down crave that kind of balance. They imagine what it would feel like to be seen as an equal by someone so self-contained, so complete. The spicy lady doesn't follow rules that don't make sense, and she doesn't play by society's expectations. She's the rebel who doesn't need to scream to prove it. Her rebellion is quiet but undeniable. She's the woman who walks away from anything that limits her freedom. Even if it's comfortable, even if it's familiar, men fantasize about being part of that world, a world where authenticity matters more than approval, where connection isn't control, and love doesn't come with conditions. The spicy lady challenges the very idea of what relationships are supposed to look like. She doesn't need constant reassurance or validation. She doesn't require attention to feel alive. Her power comes from choice, from deciding who deserves her time, her energy, her mind. When men think of the spicy lady, they see someone who can stand alone and still choose to stand with them. That choice feels like the ultimate form of respect. The fantasy becomes a shared rebellion, two people who don't play by anyone's rules, building something that's entirely their own that there's no chasing, no controlling, no pretending, just honesty and connection. Men imagine the wild energy of that bond. Road trips with no plans, deep conversations at midnight, laughter that feels like rebellion in itself. It's not chaos, it's liberation. The spicy lady doesn't lose herself in love. She expands. And men who crave that freedom see her as the key to a life that actually feels alive. But the fantasy also carries danger because being with a spicy lady means facing yourself. She won't let anyone hide behind ego or excuses. She demands truth through silence, accountability through energy. She doesn't punish, her. That mirror can be hard to face, but it's also what makes the connection so addictive. Men picture the two of them against the world. Not because they're defiant, but because they finally found someone who understands. Someone who doesn't drain them, but drives them. Someone who can challenge them without destroying them. The rebellious pair isn't about chaos. It's about freedom with depth. It's about two strong forces coexisting without losing individuality. Men fantasize about that rare harmony. Independence wrapped in intimacy, strength softened by trust. The spicy lady makes rebellion look beautiful. And in her presence, even the idea of love feels new, wild, fearless, and completely alive. 8. The queen and the KNIHT, the spicy lady, carries herself like royalty. Not because she demands attention, but because she naturally embodies it. There's something regal about her energy. Quiet but commanding, graceful but grounded. Men see her and instantly feel the shift. This isn't a woman who can be impressed by empty words or shallow charm. The spicy lady is the kind of queen who builds her own empire brick by brick with patience and purpose. She doesn't seek a king to complete her. She seeks a knight who understands her mission. And that's where the fantasy begins. Men imagine being the one to stand beside her, not above, not beneath, but beside. The knight in this story isn't a savior. He's an ally. He recognizes her power without feeling threatened by it. He's drawn to her strength, her composure, her discipline. He sees how the spicy lady moves through life with self-respect and boundaries that never bend for comfort. Men fantasize about earning her loyalty, about being worthy enough to protect something that doesn't need protecting, but deserves reverence. The spicy lady doesn't hand out her trust easily. She watches. She reads energy. She listens to silence. And when she finally lets someone in, it's sacred. That trust feels like a crown in itself, earned, not given. Men fantasize about being the one she chooses to stand by, not because she needs him, but because she wants him there. That difference is everything. It turns love into partnership, loyalty into legacy. The queen and the knight dynamic is powerful because it flips the traditional narrative. The spicy lady isn't waiting in a tower. She's already conquered her kingdom. The knight isn't riding in to rescue her. He's riding in to join her. Their connection is built on mutual respect, not dependency, that he admires her discipline, her focus, her refusal to settle for anything half-hearted. And she values his devotion, his steadiness, his willingness to fight for what matters. Together, they create balance, her vision, his action, her intuition, his loyalty. Men fantasize about that kind of union, where strength meets strength and love becomes a shared purpose instead of a power struggle. The spicy lady brings peace where others bring chaos. She commands attention without raising her voice. She leads with wisdom, not ego. And the knight, he's not intimidated by that. He's inspired by it. He wants to protect the space where she can continue to shine, even if it means staying in the background. But the spicy lady doesn't let him fade. She elevates him. She respects him as he respects her. That equality creates something timeless. Men don't just dream of loving her, they dream of being transformed by her. The queen and the knight isn't a fairy tale. It's a reality few are ready for. The spicy lady doesn't rule with fear. She reigns with grace. And every man who meets her, even briefly, walks away changed, reminded that real power doesn't need to dominate. It simply is. Point 9. The mirror of Mastery, the ninth and final fantasy, runs deeper than desire. It's about reflection. Men look at the spicy lady and see everything they wish they could become. She's disciplined, composed, emotionally intelligent, and entirely in control of her own narrative. That energy challenges them more than any romantic tension ever could. The spicy lady walks through life with quiet certainty. Not because she thinks she's better than anyone, but because she knows who she is. That kind of self-awareness is rare, and men feel it instantly. They imagine what it would be like to stand beside someone who doesn't lose herself trying to please others. She's her own world, and men fantasize about being part of that world, not to control it, but to understand it. The mirror of mastery is the moment they realize the spicy lady isn't just a mystery. She's a mirror reflecting everything they've ignored about themselves. She doesn't expose their weakness with words. She does it with presence. Her emotional control, her calm responses, her way of handling conflict. It all forces men to see how little mastery they have over their own emotions. She doesn't react to disrespect, she withdraws. She doesn't chase validation, she validates herself. That quiet restraint confuses them at first. They expect argument, drama, or emotional chaos. But instead, they're met with peace. And that peace makes them uncomfortable because it reveals their own lack of it. The spicy lady becomes their silent teacher. She shows them that strength isn't in loudness, but in composure. That love isn't about control, but about freedom. Men start imagining what it would feel like to have that same level of self-command, to respond with clarity, not insecurity. They don't just admire her, they study her. Every move she makes, every word she chooses, every moment she chooses not to react becomes a kind of lesson. They start to see that the spicy lady doesn't win through domination. She wins through discipline. Her power lies in knowing when to walk away and when to stay grounded. She never fights for attention. She attracts respect, and that's when it hits them. The fantasy isn't about possession. It's about transformation. The spicy lady represents emotional evolution. Men fantasize about being worthy of her world, but deep down they know the only way to get there is to master themselves. She doesn't change them directly. She inspires the change through contrast. Her calm reveals their chaos. Her depth exposes their shallowness. Her peace challenges their noise. And once they've seen it, they can't unsee it. The mirror of mastery leaves them both haunted and inspired. The spicy lady becomes the image of who they could be if they stopped performing and started becoming real. She's not just their desire. She's their direction. And that's what makes her unforgettable. She doesn't just capture hearts, she wakes them up. 10. The most surprising FANT is why the biggest secret. Men don't just fantasize about having a spicy lady, they fantasize about becoming one. It sounds strange at first, but it's real. Deep down, they see in the spicy lady everything they've been told to suppress. Calm confidence, self-respect, emotional independence. She moves through the world untouched by the need for validation. And that's something men were never taught to do. Since boyhood, they've been told strength means dominance, control, and constant proving. But when they meet the spicy lady, she destroys that illusion. Her power is quiet, not loud. She doesn't prove her worth. She knows it. She doesn't shout to be heard. She's listened to because her silence carries weight. And that subtle kind of confidence makes men stop and think, what if I could move like that? What if I didn't need anyone's approval either? That's where admiration turns into something deeper, a wish to mirror her strength. The spicy lady embodies balance. She feels deeply but never lets emotions rule her. She connects but never loses herself in anyone. Men watch her detach with grace and love with purpose. And it hits them that she has mastered what they've been missing, the freedom to be whole within herself. The fantasy of becoming her isn't about gender, it's about energy. Men long to hold that same unshakable center, that same quiet power that doesn't depend on the world's applause. The spicy lady represents liberation from everything artificial. She's self-defined, emotionally disciplined, and spiritually grounded. That's why men crave not just her touch, but her composure, her stillness, her ability to live without fear of being misunderstood. They start to realize the spicy lady isn't unattainable. She's a mirror, reflecting back the strength they could embody if they dared to stop performing. Her existence calls them out. She challenges the idea that power has to shout. And secretly, men fantasize about walking through life with that same poise, the same refusal to chase anything that doesn't align. The spicy lady reminds them that real confidence isn't loud. It's silent, steady, and self-fed. That's why she's not just a fantasy. She's a symbol of what human strength could be. The spicy lady isn't just another archetype. She's the modern emblem of quiet power. Self-contained, magnetic, mysterious. Men may not say it, but they're always observing, trying to understand how she holds so much without holding on. They're drawn to her truth, her discipline, her refusal to settle. Spicy ladies never shrink that energy. Your independence isn't intimidating, it's inspiring. You're not too much, you're just complete.so. Which of these resonated with you? Do you see yourself in them? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to read them. And if this spoke to your soul, watch my next video on the hidden power dynamics between spicy ladies and alpha males. Stay powerful, stay mysterious, and never apologize for being everything you are.